It's the end of the week, and so it's time to take out the trash. Okay, every week I choose a garbage person, Brett chooses a garbage person, the community does as well. For this week, there was a lot of garbage this week. And so usually we don't repeat. Like the garbage person usually won't be something we've already talked about, but sometimes exceptions need to be made. And so my garbage person is going to be something, I just want to put a pin on this and remind people that with some of the terrible violence that we've seen over the past few months, and especially this week in Atlanta, Donald Trump is my garbage person once again. A bit of a throwback, he's not president anymore, but sometimes the things that he did as president continue to make our country just a little bit worse long after he's gone. And so I want to remind you that while we don't know for sure if there's a direct connection between Trump's constant stoking of racist hatreds and fears to the Atlanta attack, it certainly hasn't helped in this particular area. And so here's a great mashup, by the way, that was put together, I believe by Stephen Colbert's team for Trump's encouragement of a very specific sort of xenophobia.
COVID-19, or as I call it, the China virus.
The China virus. The China virus. The China virus.
I call it the China virus. I call it the China plague.
Kung flu, yes. Kung flu.
Yeah, oh God, the one that I think might have been at CPAC, just it makes me more mad because when they would claim that they're doing it just because it's important that you recognize where this came from, that was obviously just transparently not true. But him just like grinning a little bit as a bunch of young racists love that he's making a racist joke in a public place and he's just having fun with it. Not caring that people at the time were telling him, hey, could you please stop doing this? This is leading to tons of harassment and hate crimes. Could you not do this? But he's having fun. The racists are having fun. And so I have a little bit more that I'm gonna add to this, but Brett, thoughts?
There's there's all the obvious things, but there's another like not as obvious thing that's specifically like your logic breaks down even further if you hate Chinese people in America. First of all, I hate Chinese people in America because they're of Chinese descent or left China. It's like they don't want to, like if you're angry at the Chinese Communist Party, odds are so are they. They're here. They're not there. They left there. What's wrong with you? The same people are like together with Cuban refugees in America talking about how bad communism is in Cuba. Well, why are you not with the people who left China to come here? And the answer is just selective ignorance and raises. That's super frustrating. Everything else has been covered and you're absolutely right on all of it. But that was just another thing that jumped out to me recently. That's like, what are you? You're gonna beat up someone who also left China?
Morons. They're here. They want to be here. They want to be part of us in exactly the way that every one of us has become one of us. You know,
not exactly the same way that every one of us has become one of us, slave trade, but yes.
That's true, yes.
And Native Americans, but yes, obviously.
Thank you for acknowledging that, yes. But at least in the last century or so, yeah, my family has been here marginally longer than some of the people that are being harassed, although not all. And when we came over, it was for the same reasons, in the same way, and we're largely greeted in the same sort of xenophobic way. But we have no historical vision whatsoever. We can't learn anything from and Brett just alluded to some of the worst outcomes of our weird mix of the way we greet different groups of this country with hatred and violence and all of that. And to see it not just continued to this day, but massively defended, you know, like throughout this week, we had a reminder of how deadly racism can be in America. But we also had a reminder that there's a ton of people in media, you know, and some of the people you were alluding to earlier, they're gonna find ways to apologize for it and pretend that that's not so bad. It's never actually the racism. There is nothing you can do, no matter how explicitly racist, that will get some of these people to ever acknowledge that race is a problem or might have influenced it. But anyway, I want to tie this into one other thing I saw, and that is that you remember back when Donald Trump used to be on social media? That was a bad idea, it turns out, and we have one more reason for why it was a bad idea. There's a study. A tweet by then President Trump using the phrase Chinese virus sparked an increase in the use of anti-Asian hashtags on Twitter, according to a University of California, San Francisco study published earlier this week. Researchers examined nearly 700,000 tweets containing more than 1 million hashtags in the days leading up to and after Mr. Trump's tweet. The United States will be powerfully supporting those industries like airlines and others that are particularly affected by the Chinese virus. We will be stronger than ever before, he tweeted. Actually, it's almost the exact year anniversary. Researchers also found that those who used the hashtag Chinese virus were significantly more likely to use other overtly racist hashtags. Those who use the hashtag COVID-19 use fewer racist hashtags. So once again, just like with the big election lie, him saying these things publicly lead to more people doing it. Now, do we know for sure that that led to some of these people harassing or attacking Asian Americans? No, we don't know that. I would say that more racism of any sort is a bad thing. And so him being taken off of Twitter is a social good for a number of different reasons. Here is just one more piece of evidence of that.
Yep, that makes sense. He is horrible. I don't like Trump either. You would be shocked to discover that I don't like Trump either.
That's true. I'm not a fan.
For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.